Hi everyone, welcome to the Model Gaming Show Live. I'm your host GWFawkes, and I want to get into tonight's stories real quick. I got a lot to talk about. So first, new game releases. We got God of War coming out tomorrow. It's gotten ridiculous reviews, 95. You really don't see that anymore. Last year you had Mario and Zelda, which was an anomaly, but it's basically gotten all 10s, which is absurd. 9s and 10s. It looks fantastic. I'm going to touch on that in a bit. Also released this week on Tuesday, you had Yakuza 6 Song of Life. And this is the conclusion to the story, but probably not the conclusion to the series. It seems like now that it's popular in the West, it's going to keep going, and they're going to keep remastering, releasing remastered versions of the older ones as well. I know they've already happened in Japan, so it's only a matter of time before everything comes here, gets remastered, and then I'm sure once the next systems come out, you're going to get 4K remasters of everything. So yeah, God of War. So I've not purchased a PlayStation 4. We're 5 years into the cycle. It actually took me 2 years to buy an Xbox One, and the reason for that was I didn't have a computer. I still had the 360, and I wanted to wait. I've been purchasing consoles now for some time, or my parents have been purchasing them for me when I was younger, since the NES. And as I've gotten, I guess, burned out on systems, I guess it started with the Wii back in 2006, I believe, is I waited at launch to get that, played it. It was great for the first 2-3 years, and then really they stopped making quality software for it. I did not buy the Wii. I had a 360, came out in 2005. I actually had two. I only got one Ring of Death, so I got lucky on that. But as I've gotten older, I've become more patient, and I rarely am a first adopter. I'll wait for the second, third, fourth iteration, whatnot. And I waited 2 years, and it was not a Black Friday. It was like that holiday season came around, and they had dropped the price of an Xbox to like dirt cheap. And so I bought one, and I bought it for The Witcher 3, actually. The Witcher 3 had came out in May. So, excuse me, it was May. It was, gosh, 2.5 years into it. And that was the game that sold me on it, and that's what I'm looking for. I don't like the PlayStation 4 controller. I don't like the PlayStation controller. It's always bothered me. I know there's probably workarounds by now, but that's always been a big barrier for entry to me because I just don't like the feel of the controller. And so I did buy a PlayStation 3. I like Blu-ray, I like that format, and I was an adopter of that. And hell, they had some great exclusives last generation, and I played all of them. I played everything that I was interested in except for The Last of Us. But now, with it 5 years into the life cycle, and with rumors of a PlayStation 5 coming soon, I think they're just rumors. I don't think we're going to see it for another 2 years. But with those rumors, I'm God of War, I'm doing my best to hold off on purchasing God of War and a PlayStation Pro. I really am. It's very enticing. That game looks phenomenal. It's the only game besides Uncharted 4 that has come out that's really got me to have that urge to just go out and splurge and buy a console and just binge it for 20-30 hours. But God of War looks fantastic, and the reviews just hammer home that. And I was thinking, I've been creating a list of games that I've been interested in for PlayStation 4 and really curating them to what I like, those experiences that I like, and comparing it to the Xbox and the games that I've played. And really, Sony this generation has just outclassed Xbox in first-party single-player games considerably. It's almost like a joke. I like the Xbox ecosystem. I have all my trophies and all my achievements there, and I know it's just meaningless numbers, but it means something to me. I've been purchasing since the original Xbox. I've been an Xbox Live member basically this whole time. So I've got that, and it matters something to me. And I like that they're integrating the PC and the Xbox ecosystems. I like that, but Sony really has it locked, and I've got like 12 or 13 games, and that's not even including like Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, Neo. Like those 3 games are just not for me, and they're some of the best on any system. And so God of War is really making me second guess my decision not to purchase the PlayStation 4 right now. I guess if the PlayStation 4 Pro was a little bit cheaper, if it was like $100 less, I probably would have bought it already. But since it still sits at $399, that bundle with God of War is $399, but even still, I'm holding off. God of War is one of those games that's a system seller. I actually remember, I think I saw God of War 3 and saw some of the set pieces on that, and that actually got me to buy into the PlayStation 3, that and Uncharted, the Uncharted series. So yeah, God of War is one of those titles that gets, like, I was never really into until I played God of War 3, and then I went back and played the remaster versions of God of War 1 and 2 when they released them on the PlayStation 3. So it's a great series, and that and Uncharted are fantastic. And I think I'm going to be breaking pretty soon. Once E3 hits and like everything blasts off with Sony and they drop the price for Black Friday, I don't think I'm going to have the willpower to not buy a PlayStation 4. So going into our next section here, we've got just a couple of little stories that I want to get to before we dive into our headliner. The first is Konami giving the fans what they want, right? And that is a new Castlevania game, Castlevania Grimoire of Souls, right? And there's a Japanese closed beta and everything's excited, and then you find out that it's on the iOS. That's Apple's iPhone operating system, and you go from yay to oh god. So if they create controls for a Bluetooth controller, I'd say that's it, but that game and the art style totally needs to be appreciated on a bigger screen, and it's just not. It's just going to be trapped on your little phone and using your stupid little swipe gestures and all that crap, and nobody wants that. The art style is totally in the vein of Bloodstained too, which is coming out, and which is a ripoff of itself of Castlevania. So it's ridiculous, and I just don't know why you would not release that game on the Switch. If you're going to release it on something like this, you should release it on the Switch. You should release it on PlayStation 4 and Xbox. I don't know why this game is being curated for iOS. It totally looks like you can just map a controller to it. I hope that's what happens. It's better than what Konami's been doing lately, which is like pachinko games and crap. So it's not a gambling game. So hey, Konami, good on that, but please release it for major consoles. Speaking of releases, a big release this week, or I think last week, I can't remember if I mentioned it, I think it came out too late, but Shenmue 1 and 2 are being released this year. They're calling it, I apologize, I think they're calling it like the Remastered Definitive Edition, whatever, but it's both games in one package, and nobody kind of knows what it is. If it's a full remaster, if it's just the games being re-released on modern consoles, either way, those games actually still kind of hold up, art style wise. Like the look of them still holds up. I don't know if the controls do, if the gameplay. I actually played both. I played the first one on Dreamcast, and I think the second one only came out for Xbox, but it was foreign, and I think I back at the time, I think I booted my Xbox or my Dreamcast or something. I did play the second one. I can't remember how I did that, but I was able to play the second one somehow. Maybe it was just on Xbox. I can't quite remember. It was a long time ago. But they're great games. I mean, I really liked Shenmue 2 a lot. Shenmue 1 is good, has some rough parts, but Shenmue 2 is a great game. And I'm excited for Shenmue 3, and I don't really replay games. Once I beat a game, I'm done with it for the most part. I don't go back and replay. I can't really reread books either. I remember everything. I remember every set piece, and because they stick to me. But Shenmue 1 and 2 might be something I go back to in anticipation for the third game. A little more housekeeping to lead into our final segment here. Sega is releasing Sega Ages collection for the Switch. They're also releasing this huge collection that I've already talked about this May, 50 old games on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. This is a completely different collection, and the span actually is all the way back from the Genesis to the Dreamcast, I believe. And they haven't announced the 15 games yet. And they're kind of taking a poll on the top games that people want. So it can span all systems, which is cool because you could get a lot of Dreamcast games on there that I'm sure fans would like to see that aren't on other consoles. And I think that's actually a cool opportunity. I really think that it's smart. I don't know why that other collection isn't releasing. I think what they're going to do is they're going to release this collection because it's more curated, and then they'll drop the other collection later. They're also releasing Sonic Mania Plus, so I don't think they want to cannibalize their own sales by releasing the other games. So I think that's what they're going to do. But I think it's a smart move. Nintendo's kind of going to the beat of their own drum right now, and Sega's just doing their best on remastering everything, throwing out all their games, which they should. I don't know why all these old companies don't do what Sega is doing and just remaster the crap out of all their old games. Basically put in the rewind feature, add new music and stuff like that. Those games file sizes are in the megabytes. I mean, it's crazy. So if I'm like Konami and Sega and all these companies, I'm just going back to all my old catalog and releasing everything. There's no reason not to at this point. It doesn't. There's no incentive not to just make money like that. People will buy your products. And this leads directly into the headlining is the virtual console dead, and does it really matter? That's the question I want to ask is, if it is dead, does it really matter at this point? The virtual console, for those that don't know, came out on the Wii U, and it was basically Nintendo's pitch was, we're going to start releasing all our old games. You can buy them $5 for NES games, like 7 to 8 for Super Nintendo, and then I think very select N64 games for $10, and that was on the Wii U too. But you couldn't transfer your libraries over, so you had to rebuy games on the Wii U again, and all that crap. Nintendo's been really crappy at online, and so you, unlike Microsoft and Sony, where you can just transfer your username across all these consoles and keep all your games, especially with what Microsoft's doing with backwards compatibility now, it's insanity. You can play original Xbox games on the Xbox One. That's crazy. But Nintendo's always made you rebuy, and for me, that stopped with the Wii U. And then when I sold my Wii U, that was it. Like I lost all those games, or excuse me, the Wii. I have some on a Wii U that I have, but the support for that is now gone, I believe. So no getting that. But for me, what I think is, with what Sega is doing, I think either Nintendo is playing this so close to the vest, or to the chest, whatever, that none of these other companies even know what their online strategy is going to be. And so that's why Sega's just going out and releasing their own bundles. They're supposed to detail their online this September, which was pushed back from last September, so a full year to figure it out. And I think deep down, I believe that the virtual console is dead. I don't believe there will be anything like we're used to, especially with how they've gone on. It's $20 a year, and you'll have certain access to online features and online play, and you'll be able to download one free game a month. Who the hell knows what that is? But what's very interesting is the way that the Switch's game purchasing system is set up. It's actually pretty intuitive, and it just puts the newest games, and you can sort by top sellers and whatnot too. But if they just wanted to, they could just release older games, and it would essentially be the virtual console. Hell, the Switch is already filled with every friggin' Neo Geo game ever made. So at this point, there's no incentive for them to start, there's no reason not to just start, especially with their own IP. Every Nintendo game from NES to Super Nintendo to N64 to GameCube should be on, or Dreamcast even. I think there was some, no, that wouldn't make any sense. Garrett, you're an idiot. Okay, to N64 to GameCube should be on the Switch's downloadable library. I mean, it can easily handle it. And I mean, God, there's emulators now for the friggin' Switch on PC right now. So you're telling me Nintendo can't figure that out? I think the virtual console, as we know it, is dead. I don't think there's going to be any separate service that you're going to go to. I think what Nintendo is going to do is, I think, this is my hope. This is my hope, and it's probably giving them too much credit. But I really hope that they said, you know what, we're going to take this extra year to really get ready so that when we launch our online service, we're just going to drop like 10 to 20 NES games, 10 to 20 SNES, 10 to 20 N64, 10 to 20 GameCube games, all at once with a release schedule on their regular store. And that's going to be it. I hope that they've taken the time to go, this is what we're going to do. And for their $20, they'll choose one of each of those games for the free month that you have it. Do you know what I mean? Every month you get a free game, and they're just going to choose one. And I hope they keep adding it to it. And I hope they reach out to the Konamis and the Segas and all that and really do that. I don't know, though. There's been no leaks whatsoever from any company. None. That's really strange, right? Everything leaks nowadays. Everything has at least a little crumb, a little rumor. And for there to be absolute silence is pretty interesting. I don't know if they have anything. Their presence at E3 is greatly diminished, so you're not going to get anything there. They're going to throw out directs, I'm sure, throughout the year, and then in September they're going to release their plans. But at this time, it's weird when you consider the console life cycles, right? It doesn't feel like it's been as long as it has because the Switch just came out last year, 4 years deep into it. So it's a little bit odd that it's already been 5 years. This fall it will be, I believe, 6 years since Xbox and Sony, or Xbox and PlayStation released. So for Nintendo to be this far behind on their internet solution is friggin' nuts. But it's Nintendo, so they get away with it. They get away with it because they just put out arguably two of the greatest games of this console generation in Mario and Zelda in the same friggin' year. So that's why they get away with it. And the Switch is a great console. It's really intuitive. I don't really play it in handheld mode, but it's fantastic. So is the Virtual Console dead, and does it matter? I think it is dead. Does it matter? No. I think they're going to just release games as they want, their highest profile games, and they're going to probably have the same stupid pricing structure that they had for the Wii 10 years ago, where it's $5 for NES games, $8 for SNES, 10 for N64, and 15 for GameCube games. And everyone's going to buy this crap, including me. Like I said, I don't replay many games, but there's some games in Nintendo's catalog, like my favorite game, A Link to the Past, that I'm going to buy. I'll buy that. And this is a console I actually see myself keeping forever. Most of the time what I do with consoles is once they reach kind of like the couple years before they're about to, when I feel like it's stagnating, is I'll be done with the console and I'll sell it, and then I'll get the other console, like the PlayStation 4, like I'll probably do, and wait for the new systems to come out. The thing that's happening now, though, is I think that, Xbox is just going to iterate. Sony will release the PlayStation 5, but I don't think Xbox will. And Nintendo, with their handheld, hell, the 3DS has been around for forever. They're still supporting it. And I think that they're going to just keep iterating the Switch. I don't know if they will release a Switch 2. They might release like a Switch XL or a new Switch, right? Where it's the same form factor, newer, faster, better, whatever, bigger hard drive. But I think the Switch is going to be around for like 10 years. I really do. And they don't really need a virtual console. They just need to release the games in their store. That's it. They can pick and choose, but they might as well make the money, right? It's there for the taking. It doesn't, I know it's like a little oxymoron. It's free money for them. They could put such minimal effort into just porting all the original games and just adding a couple of features, like Sega does the rewind feature, additional art, additional music, different HUDs, whatever, to change stuff, change the music, whatever. But I mean, that's very minimal to get a programmer to do that when people on the internet are already doing that for free. So it's free money, it's just laying on the table. And I really hope that Nintendo this fall comes prepared. I hope in September they surprise us. I hope it's not just kind of like, okay, like a lot of Nintendo stuff. It's just like, cool, yeah, that was cool, okay. They're doing it, we'll wait and see how it is. I hope they just come out with this half-hour long direct just on it and saying, hey, we're releasing 20 games for all the systems prior to this, 10 each month until the end of the year. You know what I mean? We're going to have available a bunch of our back catalog. We've made partnerships with all these different companies, and we're going to release their games too. It's going to be awesome. That's what seems like a logical choice. Now, this is Nintendo. Who knows if they'll do that? But that's what I hope. I'm hoping Nintendo gets their act together, sees the potential, and follows through on it. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Mini rant, mini discussion on Nintendo. This is going to be one of my last Thursday shows, the second to last Thursday show. I'll do one more next week. And then I'm going to be moving this show to Sundays. I just have things coming up, and I feel like during the week, not as many people, there's so many people to watch and stream, and to watch kind of like a random talk show is a little weird. So I'd like to put it on a Sunday on the weekend, have it relaxing, maybe do it at 7 or 8. Probably going to stick with the 8 o'clock time period for Pacific Standard, and see how that goes. That'll leave up basically have Sunday and Monday to do the 2 dedicated shows. And despite me not following through, I really do want to start playing more games. I actually had intentions for doing it this week and last week, and 3 of the games that I have, I had trouble with OBS and I couldn't get them to record properly. So I've been working on that. I've got the next game. It works. It's going to be fun, and we'll see what I can do. But we got this week and then next week, and then it's going to move to Sundays starting in May. And hopefully it'll be better. It'll be more consistent. Probably going to dress a little bit nicer. Maybe get a little border thing going. Get a new overlay for me. Okay, try and make it a little bit snazzier. But yeah, thank you all for watching. This is twitch.tv/Model Gaming Show. I'm here right now for the limited time, Monday and Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. I'm GWFawkes, Fawkes. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. And everyone have a great night.